Hi everyone, this week I am outside in the flower patches and I'm starting to clear the beds now it's autumn. There's still quite a few things flowering. We've still got some cosmos, a few dahlias, lots of lovely asters, and they're all looking lovely, and you might just be able to see some of them in the garden behind me. But the weather has been a bit wild and damp at times, and it has started to push over things like the scabious, and some of the cosmos has flopped, and a lot of the things are over. So things like the sweet peas are definitely finished now. And you can leave things in the garden for a bit of structure over the winter, for the birds, for the seeds. But I do this in some places, but not everywhere, because I do need to clear the beds so that I can plant my bulbs. The bulbs have been a bit later arriving this year, but hopefully by the end of next week I should have all of them and I'll be able to make a start on planting. I usually try and get all things like my narcissi, my irises, my hyacinths, all of those types of bulbs in first, and then I leave the tulip planting until later on in November, early December, once the weather is colder, to reduce the risk of tulip fire. So this week is all about clearing beds. It is about recycling as much as I can. So things like the stakes here, I will take them in and protect them over the winter time. I will take the horizontal plastic netting off the beds and I'll roll this up so it can be reused in the spring as well when we plant out. Things like the sweet peas, I used the biodegradable jute netting this year for the first time and it worked brilliantly, and actually I'm hoping that maybe I can get a second year out of it as well. If I take it in and store it nice and dry, I'll see if it'll do another year for me in the springtime. I'm going to clear away all the annuals that have finished and the stems, cut them back on some of the perennials, and I'll compost them, and then I will mulch the beds with some of our homemade compost as well. Then we'll be ready to plant some bulbs. So here we go, this is the sweet peas here. You can see that they've all finished flowering. There's just two little flowers left here, but the rest is all brown dieback stems now. So I need to remove all of this, and hopefully we should be left with some nice jute netting at the end that I can reuse next year. So let's have a look and see if we can get some of it off. All of these old stems from the sweet peas can go on the compost heap. They'll break up very easily. I grew a lot more sweet peas last year and I ran out of 8-foot canes for my supports and had to use some shorter ones for the last few sweet peas that I was growing, and they're just too short, these ones here. You do need these big longer 8-foot supports because the sweet peas grow so quickly that they're soon at the top of it before you know it. So that's definitely an investment for the winter time, to buy lots more of the taller canes. I wonder what gardening jobs you're doing this week. It's really about taking advantage of the weather at this time of year. It's been pretty rainy and damp so far this week, although it has been warm, and that's kept me doing more inside jobs. But now it's a nice sunny day. It's really great to get stuck in the garden and really start to clear the beds. I did have Hattie, the Labradoodle that we have out here, helping me in the flower patch until she decided that she wanted to go on top of the garage roof and bark at the local cats. So she's gone inside for a nap now, maybe come out again a bit later. So that's me got all of the sweet pea material off the netting. It would have been a lot easier just to unhitch the netting at either end because it's biodegradable and just lift the whole thing and put it on the compost heap rather than trying to get the individual stems out. And that would have been absolutely fine, far less time consuming. But I am tempted to see if I can reuse this. It looks in pretty good shape, the biodegradable netting, so I want to see if I can get it through another season. Is this something that you've ever used before, biodegradable netting? Have you managed to get it through more than one season for you? Right, I'm off to the compost heap with these stems to make them into some lovely mulch for the beds next year. So let's see if we can lift off this netting here so it can be reused. So here we go, that's the netting off. I'm going to take it inside now for the winter time where it'll be nice and dry, and we'll try reusing it in the spring when I plant out my sweet peas then. Don't know whether you can see here, but I've got a friendly robin that's just come to sit beside me in the garden while I take away the sweet pea netting. He has been watching me all morning clearing out the beds and taking the sweet pea frame apart. I love seeing robins in the garden, it's lovely. Next job is to take the canes out. Just taking out the last few canes here, and we'll put them away in the garage for the winter time. So this bed here is one of the ones that had my sweet peas in it, so I've dismantled the frame and the netting and got the old stems out, and I've given it a weed, and it's now ready for a mulch with some of our homemade compost, which I have started to bring down in bucketfuls here. And that will give it a nice nutritious mulch for the winter time. And I will either decide to plant some tulip bulbs in here in November, December, or I might leave this bed until springtime, and then I can plant out my autumn sown hardy annuals in it. It's been a lovely morning out in the flower patch, clearing away some of the beds and sorting out the sweet pea frames, getting them dismantled for winter with the help of my friendly Robin. But it's also an important day today in our family because my middle daughter has her 13th birthday, and I need to go and cook up a chocolate cake in the kitchen before she comes home from school for that. So I'll be back out in the garden tomorrow and we'll have a look and see what the jobs are then. I'm back out in the garden again today and it is pretty chilly. It's lovely and sunny though. And today I'm going to be concentrating on looking at the flowers and what the quality's like and what I've got left. So I have finished my weddings for the year now and my bouquet orders have slowed down, but I've still kept the garden gate stall going, and I'm going to see if I can get another weekend of flowers just now as well. I might cut some today if they're still looking good. Hopefully as we have a wander around and I have a look at the flowers, you'll get some good ideas as what you might like to grow in your gardens for some colour in the autumn. There's still plenty looking lovely from the point of view of garden flowers, so we'll be able to have a look at that as we go wander around. And I'll be looking at the stem quality really. Do I still have some nice long stems? Are they sturdy? Is the petal quality good? Not rain damaged or damaged by any pests nibbling them and things. So scabious here, we've still got lots of buds coming, so as long as there were no frost, then the potential for the scabious to keep going is quite good. So that's a good one to have growing in your garden for September, October colour. There's a lovely pink scabious. The bees are still out in the garden, enjoying the flowers. Some nice purple scabious. One of the things I love about scabious is the huge wealth of colours that you can grow. There's a nice red one there. Quite a lot of it's blown over in the wind or it's got petal damaged from the rain, but there's still some lovely ones to see. The statice looks like it's all finished in the beds for the year now. The Helichrysum this year just keeps on going, got lots of buds still coming through with that. We've got some cosmos still flowering here. Just some of the stems have been blown over in the wind while I was away on holiday, but there's still some nice buds coming through. The cosmos, you can see here, it is beautiful, but it's just damaged on its petals from the weather. So that's not a good enough quality for the garden gate stall, but it's lovely for you to still grow in your garden for some nice flowers. Got some lovely white borage here, a bit different to the blue that I typically grow. I really like this white one. I had started to pull up all the sunflowers in the beds because I thought they were finished, but I've just come across this teddy bear sunflower which is just coming into bloom now in mid-October. I definitely recommend growing some sedum in your garden because it's just glorious at this time of year. It's really bee friendly, they love it, and it's got such rich colours. And it's great in a vase as well, you can use it in flower arrangements. The Rudbeckias in the garden are still flowering. They've been beautiful this year, I've really enjoyed growing them. I just love asters, these are one of my top favourite autumn flowers. These asters are really pretty too. I've cut the vast majority of it, but we've got some second flushes of astrantia still coming through. So if you chop your astrantia back, the stems right back after their first flowering in early summer, you should get some like these just now. Some of the snapdragons are having a second flush at the moment. And these ones are just coming into bud again now, and these might be fine to use in arrangements. They are looking grand. Calendula just seem to flower and flower and flower in the garden. They keep going all throughout the summer and the autumn. I'm getting a second flush on my roses as well at the moment, which is lovely. Hopefully they'll keep going for another couple of weeks, maybe even into November. This beautiful rose here is called Desdemona. It's a David Austin rose and it's just covered in blooms at the moment, having a second flush in the autumn. This is another beautiful rose. This is Teasing Georgia. Just some hiding in the back there, coming into bloom again. This is Munstead Wood and it's another really gorgeous colour. This one's just starting to bloom as well again in the garden. This beautiful rose is another David Austin one and it's called Winchester Cathedral. Lots of lovely flowers growing in the greenhouse at the moment, so it's definitely been worth taking the chrysanthemums and the dahlias inside. So definitely think we'll have some lovely flowers for the flower stall this week, mainly out of the ones that are flowering in the greenhouse, because these are the ones that don't get damaged by the wind and rain at this time of year. So I'm going to remember that it's definitely been worthwhile putting some dahlias and chrysanthemums in containers, because I could move them inside. So I managed to get lots of lovely flowers cut for the garden gate stall tomorrow. These have all come out of the flower patches with no petal damage or rain damage on them. So I'm going to put them away in the garage to condition overnight and have a really good soak of water, and then in the morning I'll arrange them for the garden gate stall. And I think that probably will be the last weekend of flowers for the year, but you never know, maybe it'll be a good weather week next week and we'll get another week out of them. I got an exciting delivery today. I got the last of the bulbs and the ranunculus and anemones in the mail. So that means that next week I'll be able to start planting the bulbs, getting the narcissi into the ground, getting the irises in and the muscari and the hyacinths, and I'm going to start pre-sprouting the ranunculus and anemones as well. A bit later than I planned to do it this year because of delays in getting the bulbs, but better late than never, and hopefully they'll still sprout away for me and I'll be able to plant them on after that.